Let's bring in our guest, obviously Carson Palmer, terrific NFL career, first overall pick back in 2003. Didn't play his rookie year, which is amazing. He sat and watched and he took notes and he came back and he was ready to go right away in 2004. 3 Pro Bowls, terrific with the Bengals. His knee got chopped up against Pittsburgh, as we know. Resurfaced, had a great renaissance run with the Cardinals, Bruce Arians. Carson, Tiki and Tierney, how you doing today, buddy? Welcome back, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Yeah, I don't know how often we will see a first overall pick or second or third for that matter kind of take a red shirt like you did back in 2003. And who knows how different your career would or would not be if you played week 1 or week 2 or week 8, whatever it may have been. But as you look back, I mean, ultra beneficial, highly frustrating. How did you process in real time not playing at all as the first overall pick?
Well, both ways. I mean, it was extremely beneficial to sit and watch a pro. I got to sit behind a guy named John Kidner, who was a pro of all pros. So I got the chance to sit behind him and learn from him, but I was also frustrated because it was the first time in my life, really in any sport, where I wasn't the starter. And so to watch from the sidelines and learn was great, but of course you want to be out there playing the entire time. But, to answer your question, whether guys in the future will or won't sit that first year, you won't see it anymore. Because when I was coming out, as a rookie, I signed a 6-year contract with a 7th-year option. And now because of the new CBA, these guys are signing 4-year deals with a 5th-year option. So these organizations don't have the amount of time to evaluate and decide if they want to pay that quarterback, a contract to be the future and be their franchise quarterback. If he sits for one of his first 4 years, they want to see what you got and see if you're worthy of that kind of money, especially nowadays with some of the contracts these guys are signing. So I think those days where, you get to come in as a rookie and learn and sit and watch are gone. You're forced to play year one and really week 1. You look at Kyler Murray last year, who came in and was a starter, when he entered training camp. I think that's the new norm.
Yeah, no, and I wonder, Carson, because I see benefits and curses either way. Because if you play too early and the team around you is like David Carr, who just got beat up as a rookie.
Right.
I mean, what was it like? I think it was 78 or maybe even close to 80 sacks his rookie season. It's like, how do you trust standing behind an offensive line anymore? So that's the downside of it. The good side is you learn the mistakes you make and you grow from them. So there's a balance that has to happen. Forget the contract side. I'm just from like a quarterback development side. How should teams manage that? Because we're going to see more, first round quarterbacks coming next year. They're going to be likely on bad teams. They're going to have to find ways to, balance that, start now or wait, conversation. Just like Tua this year down in Miami.
Well, I think it's a function of the way these contracts are designed now. There's just too much capital invested in these first-round picks to let them sit on the sideline, and you've got to make a decision. Really, you're seeing quarterbacks like Deshaun Watson last year and a handful of guys getting paid in year 3. Carson Wentz, these guys are getting paid in year 3 because it makes sense for the organization, but they've seen enough on tape to let them know that they're worthy of that max contract in their second contract. So, yeah, I mean, it's just too hard to wait a year and see what these guys got. And now that the game's changed so much, it's so much less complicated. All the zone running options, and there's so many plays built in where the quarterback's running, and there's so much less to have to learn right away that it's easier to play from a complication standpoint for these young rookies.
I'm talking to Carson Palmer, 3 Pro Bowls, terrific career, first overall pick back in the day out of USC, Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. I mean, listen, Carson, the easiest thing for us to do now would be to, throw out, Mahomes and all the great players and have you wax poetic. Everybody knows how great these guys are. I think it would be more interesting to our audience to maybe probe into a couple of examples where things have gone awry and whether or not you think that they're inherently salvageable either with the team they're currently with or elsewhere. Give us your, and you don't have to expand too much because I want to hit you with a couple, but give us your initial thoughts on Mitchell Trubisky moving forward. What do you see from Trubisky?
I think he's a good starter. He's not somebody that you can hang your hat on and say he's going to win us a Super Bowl. He's a guy that you have to figure out contractually how you can keep his salary down and put a ton of playmakers around him. I think in his first couple of years, he's displayed that he can't carry a team. He's a good player. He was drafted high, and they have to see if he can carry a team. But I think he's shown the team that he doesn't deserve a Deshaun Watson, Russell Westbrook size contract. You have to figure out a way you can make him work, maybe with a Ryan Tannehill size contract, and pay a bunch of really good players around him. But he has not lived up to being drafted that high for sure.
Hey, Carson,
no, he hasn't.
Hey, Carson, real quick, just to stay on that point that you just made, do you think that that's actually going to happen? Because we don't see it. We see every quarterback wanting to get the next highest paid contract. You know what I mean? I think Mitchell Trubisky is one case. Who were we talking about the other day? We're also talking about, man, this guy is not quite the peak, but he is really good, but he shouldn't be making $30 million. Maybe he should be making 20-something million. You think that's going to change?
Well, it just depends. I mean, I think you have to have complete trust and faith in the organization around you. If you're going to take less, are they going to pay the right guys? Are they going to overpay guys, or are they going to pay them correctly and build players around you to make you a better player? You look at Dak's situation in Dallas, and that's kind of been beaten over the head. But maybe the reason Dak's not willing to take less is he doesn't trust Jerry. Jerry hasn't proved to him over the last decade or so that he's used that money and allocated it the right way. If I was Dak, I would certainly look at that. I mean, you just look at the value in being, outside of contractually what you make per year, you look at the value in being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. There's a lot of value, maybe the most in the entire league outside of the two New York teams. But there's plenty of money to be made outside of your contract, and there is no salary cap. When you look at Dak and he's doing, deals with Sleep Number, the bed company, and a handful of Campbell's Chunky Soup commercials, and all of those are more of a function that he's the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, not that they're the guy that, he's the best quarterback in the league. It's more the team he plays for. And a great example of that is looking at, the TV deal 2 years ago. You had Troy Aikman, Tony Romo, and Jason Witten all on the major networks as analysts. So, I mean, there are certain teams where there's a ton of value in the team you play for, and you can make money to make up for the contract that you maybe didn't sign the same size of contract as the Russell Wilsons or Deshaun Watson's deals, but you can still make up that money just being the Cowboys QB.
Gotcha. So I know that your brother worked extensively with many players, but he had a lot of sessions with both Josh Allen and Sam Darnold this summer. And the Bills have done right by Josh. The Jets have ruined Sam Darnold. And, I mean, I'm a Jets fan, but I think I'm pretty objective. And for 10 years, I've been telling the world they suck. Like, I'm not one of these Jets guys who says that things are rosy when they're miserable, and they've been miserable for a long time. But I also trust my eyes. And while his mechanics could use a little tightening up, I get that. Sam Darnold can make plays, and he's been put out there with absolutely nothing. So his career was over with the Jets. They're taking Lawrence. But if you're another team, do you view him as an asset that you can, in the right situation, polish back up and re-energize, and he can be a guy, better than Trubisky, whatever you have Mitch at, beyond that? Like, I do, but you played. Does Sam have a future in this league as a starter?
Oh, 100%. I mean, he is a franchise quarterback without a doubt. He's still young. He doesn't have any major history injury. He's been banged up, but I mean, that's because the offensive line, the people that have surrounded him. But you just look at that draft class where you had Baker Mayfield go 1, and Josh Allen went as the third QB in that class. And you look at the success that those two guys are having with immense amount of talent around them. I mean, both those guys are surrounded by a phenomenal offensive line, by weapons outside. You got Stephon Diggs and Odell Beckham, and just the weapons that those guys have. And you're seeing them flourish, and then you're seeing a young quarterback with I don't know if I can name a starter in that offensive group with Sam Darnold, and he's a product of that the lack of success that they've had in drafting guys and bringing in guys in free agency.
Yeah, no, that'll ruin a quarterback every single time.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.